So this is a prime time example. Oh, I'm so happy this is here. I'm going to be able to show you guys exactly what we're talking about. I'm going to even find a place, try to find a place to pull over. So you see this light here? You've got one light here and then one on the other side. You'd want to encounter this light and understand what's happening before you worry even about the other one, right? So we'll find a place to pull over real quick. Maybe not. Oh, we got a spot. All right, so we're here by one of the railroad crossings. I'm actually glad this is here because we'll hop on out and I can show you a little bit, and maybe we can just talk about the generality of a railroad and the things that we should be paying attention to when we cross this stuff, because there is a lot of signage that's there. You have crosswalks, you've got people making rights, people maybe not paying attention as much as you are, to include street lights before and street lights after, and of course judging the distance before you decide as a driver that, hey, I'm gonna pull out into something like that. Excuse my reach here, y'all, as I get the body cam ready for y'all. But anytime, and I use this term a lot, if you've watched any of our newscasts, you watch me on live TV in the morning with you guys talking about it, I use the term, you're not gonna win that fight. And I don't mean it to be funny or disrespectful to anybody, but whether you have the right of way or not, do you risk the fact of walking in front of something that you're not going to win even if you're right? So same thing like a pedestrian. A pedestrian, even if you have the indicator to cross, you have to look both ways, because you can't rely on the driver to make sure that you are going to be safe. Because if you cross the road when you're supposed to and that driver does not pay attention, you lose, whether you're right or wrong. I hope you're kind of following me. Same thing in life, right? Do you always have to argue with somebody when you know you're right? Like, who's going to win that? Even if you're right in the debate, sometimes it's easier just to shh and walk away from it, because not everybody understands everybody's point of view. So you've got to remember that sometimes. Make sure our battery is good here. I hope it is. Let me check it real quick. We should be able to do this for a second. And we'll get out and we'll just talk about this very briefly. Hopefully signal stays good. We should be all right. Let me turn the mic on for us. We can get out and talk a little bit. Cool, come on out, guys. So we're out here like Alden and Virginia, and this is where one of the railroad crossings are within this area. So you guys were curious about the signage when approaching stuff like this. So the number one thing, I'm going to try to find some shade. There we go, some shade so we can talk a little bit, is you need to be aware when approaching, you may have an intersection both before and after. Then of course there's always that little buffer zone of road leading up where you're like, okay, can I fit? If you ever question whether you can fit in that area, then you should not be going in that area. This is kind of that gray spot. You don't want to get caught in the intersection, and you don't want to get caught too close, of course, right to the railroad. So if you were to approach this intersection, we're here at Alden and Virginia. I know I sound like Captain Obvious here, but if this light was red, you would be required to stop here. Whether or not the other side was green doesn't matter. You obey the traffic signal as it approaches you, as you encounter it. So then you cross this and say you got on the other side of the intersection and you were stuck there. Then your next traffic signal would be the one that's out there on Ivanhoe. The catch here's the catch. If the traffic signal, if the railroad crossing was to activate from this area, you would not want to proceed through, because then you're going to be stuck. So there's multiple different scenarios that this happens. Sometimes they are kind of real close up on each other, and they can be a little confusing. But the math equation that you're using for all of this is just obey as it happens. That's it. You should not be overly concerned about traffic signals that are on the opposite side, unless you're getting ready to make a different travel negotiation. You're going to negotiate your vehicle, excuse me, you're not negotiating anything. You're negotiate your turn up ahead, and that could influence it. But to eliminate the confusion, don't worry about what's up ahead. You want to encounter what's closest to you. Everything I sometimes do is pretty relatable back to my law enforcement or military side. What's my closest threat? I want to eliminate that threat first, because I'm really not overly concerned about what's over there if this is my problem now. Same thing would be for the traffic signal. Why are you stressed about what's on the opposite side there of the traffic signal if you've got a red light and other signs that you should be paying attention to first, right? All right, let's hop back into results 1, and we'll go real quick. Let's see what time it is. 9:40, 8:45. Doesn't she look good? And we'll go over to 50 and I-4 real quick, and we'll see it. We'll check that one out. All right, guys, thanks for hopping back in. We're back in results 1. We're going to back out of this little spot here. We just kind of hung out. You would not find a parking spot any other day, anywhere, if it wasn't Labor Day. I am grateful. All right, let's head to 50 and I-4, and we'll look at that area, which is always interesting, of course. OPD out and about. Love seeing them all over the place. Always very nice. Beautiful. My gosh. Man, what I would do to be at my pool right now. All right, wait at the light. We'll go ahead to the left on Virginia. We'll take Mills down to Colonial, and then head west on Colonial and approach the intersection out there. Need to find some music that I could play for y'all. All right. We're east on Virginia. Sorry for the sun. It's rising. It's going to be right in your face. I'll put the rear cam on for you. Don't get seasick. And if you're joining us this morning, first, thank you. I appreciate it. Beautiful morning out here in Orlando. Low 80s right now. Woke up to the mid 70s. It was beautiful. And it's Labor Day Monday. A lot of people off. Roadways are clear. We did have a very unfortunate fatal crash yesterday. 4 people, 3 children. Breaks my heart. 15-year-old driver. I have so many questions. But, all right, we're going to head south on Mills here, and then come up on 50, and we'll talk about that lovely I-4 Colonial intersection, railroad tracks there by the Steel House. And we'll wrap it up from there. I think that'll be a real good example of just showing you. Again, the question was, if you've got traffic signals on both sides of the intersection, which ones do you pay attention to? My straight and only advice I'm giving for this is encounter, or I keep messing that up. My only advice that I give for this is obey as you encounter. So if I'm coming up here south on Mills and approaching the intersection here at, I believe this is Marks, I'm not worried about the intersection at Colonial, right? Why? Because it doesn't have anything to do with my direct movements as I'm traveling. The same would be opposite. If this light was red and the other one was green, I'm stopping at this one, right? So don't let a lot of traffic instructions get you confused. All right, so we're now westbound on Colonial. View is beautiful. Wow, what a nice shot here. Listen, guys, please wear your seatbelts. It blows my mind. I'm still driving around. And this is the kind of stuff we're still seeing. It is 2023. We have fairly newer cars on the streets. We need to wear our seatbelts. I don't know what kind of campaign, or what can I say? Looks like we got something going on. Orlando Police Department, left-hand side of your screen if you're watching right now. See some flashing lights there at Colonial and Highland, off on the shoulder there, 2 units. Looks like they're out with a pedestrian. Alright guys, so we're going to come up to this intersection. If there's a place for me to park, I'll park. And we'll look at it. Alright, so westbound Colonial, we're going over Magnolia. Gets real tricky out here, right? So you have Orange Avenue right here at the intersection. Trying to predict our cross here. So, okay, we have a traffic light here. As you approach, we cross over orange if it's green, so we're good. We have railroad. So if this was to be backed up here, you would want to stop at or before that stop bar. Why? Because this is where traffic messes up. You would not proceed through if not anything else. So you continue on through. Alright, we'll get turned back around. We'll pull off side street here and wrap this up. Can't pull into a dead end, so All right, guys, thanks for joining on a Labor Day Monday, cutting it short a little bit. And the key to this is if as you're encountering your traffic control devices, no matter where they are, whether at a railroad crossing or not, you should just obey them as you encounter them. Don't always be so confused about what's up ahead, because if they're giving you an instruction here, it's because there's something very important happening between that signal and the next one. And the topic was, what if there is a traffic light before and after a railroad crossing? You need to obey those lights as you see them, because I can promise you, if they're there, it's there for a reason, and that railroad crossing has a lot to do with it. Never stop on the tracks. Always stop at or before the stop bar, because if you stop anywhere further, you're in danger at that point. You're putting yourself in that buffer zone of a train. And like I said, whether you're right or wrong, whether you have the right of way or not, picking a fight with the train is not something you want to do, because whether you are in the right, the outcome is your loss, period. So please always drive safely. Have an amazing, beautiful Labor Day. Keep it safe, wear your seatbelt, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow.